Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of the DevOps Directive Office Hours. So this is going to be a regular series on the channel in which we bring on guests, and I will work with them to help solve some DevOps or cloud infrastructure challenge that they're facing. And so today's special guests are Kritika and Pranav of the Immigrant Programmers channel.
Hello.
Hey Sid,
Hey,
thank
welcome.
you very much for inviting us. We said hey Sid, and the city started
Listening.
listening to us. So
Nice.
yeah, thank you for inviting us. We are really excited.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to have you. And so today we're going to work to take a Discord bot that you two built. And you initially were using Replit to host that, but that's kind of just a temporary solution.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we're going to bundle it up and deploy it onto a server running in AWS. And so I'm super excited for that. We've got a plan of attack that we came up with beforehand, and hopefully everything goes according to plan. But before we jump in, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, I'll go ahead.
Okay.
So yeah, actually, as the name of our YouTube channel, you can see we when we were deciding what name should we choose for our YouTube channel, we said we were programmers. Then we said we're also immigrants in Canada. So that's the perfect kind of name that introduces us, introduces what the channel is going to be about. So we just named it the Immigrant Programmers. And right now,
it resonates with our story.
Yeah.
Because
Awesome.
and our profession as well. So we want our audience and the people that watch our channel and other people as well to grow with us. And we make videos on the stuff that we learn about in our daily lives. So right now, we're learning about web dev and back end, front end. So we're making videos and we're making content on that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of plans for the future as well as we grow and we start learning DevOps as well. So this is our first training session with you.
Yeah, thank you for the office hours.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to have you here.
Concept.
And I just posted a link to your channel in the chat. So hopefully everyone can see that and go check it out and go subscribe. They just crossed 300 subscribers and they're continuing to grow every day.
Yeah,
so super cool. And I see Design Course here in the audience. Awesome to have him. That's a channel that I did a collaboration with not too long ago. Where he built the application and I helped to deploy it onto a VPS. So kind of a similar situation where in this case, you guys built this application and I'm going to help you get it deployed. So perfect. Welcome. And
that's awesome.
Why don't we just jump right in? If you guys want to pull up the screen share, I'll add it here.
Yeah, perfect. So as you can see, this is the Replit.
You want to zoom in maybe 1 or 2 clicks?
Just yes,
some people might be.
Sure. Is this better? We can zoom
perfect.
more.
Yeah. And if you're in the audience, let us know if it's good size and that sort of thing.
Yep, sure. So this is the Replit code. It's less than 50 lines of code. It's pretty simple. All we are doing is we just connected to the Discord client. We are using an API to fetch some jokes. And whenever someone posts a message on Discord, when they post a string like joke or they post funny, we just fetch a joke from the API, and hopefully, they will see it over here.
Cool. Yeah, that zooms in as well, right? Nice.
Yeah. So that is the whole concept. The code is pretty simple.
Yeah, so pretty simple application. It looks like most of it sort of fits into about 50 lines of JavaScript. And so the goal today then is going to be to take this and provision a virtual machine running in AWS. So that'll be an EC2 Elastic Compute instance. We will likely use something like Ubuntu as the operating system. We'll need to get your source code onto that machine. We'll need to install the necessary dependencies, so Node.js and anything else that we need. And then launch it. And so initially we're going to try to do this manually. So we're going to do everything just sort of step by step to show everything that goes into doing this. And then ideally, if we can succeed at that in not too long a time, we will actually try to move to GitHub Actions and automate the deployment such that with any change to the code base, we can bundle that up and build those changes and get them pushed automatically.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Cool. So you, I think ahead of time, went ahead and created a AWS account.
Yes,
So
we
if we
did.
want to pull up the console on AWS is a little bit overwhelming. So let's see, if we go into categories on the left there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's all these different categories. We probably just want, it should just be,
We can search as well if you want.
yeah, just search EC2.
Okay.
Let me just make sure you're at the right URL. I think it's just like console.aws.amazon.com. Yeah. Log back in.
Sign into the console.
Yeah, this looks
Yeah,
right.
so this is what I was expecting to see. Here we go.
Okay.
And if you want to zoom in just a little bit more, that would probably be helpful.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so EC2 is essentially just allowing us to provision a general purpose virtual machine running in the AWS data center. So you can think of it as if it was your own personal laptop or desktop, but it just happens to live in their system. It's going to have all the necessary like power backups and high-speed networking all available to us. And so
great.
if we just click on, let's go down to the launch instance button there, the orange button at the bottom.
Okay.
Launch instance.
Yes.
And so if we were doing this the true DevOps way, we would want to define our configuration somehow within our code base. We're going to provision it from the graphical user interface, the web UI, just because it's a little simpler to get started. But eventually, if you wanted to sort of DevOpsify this project even further, you could use something like Terraform to actually coordinate the deployment of this machine. So it's
when
going
you
to
say
give us...
we want to, I just had a question. When you say if you want to take it to another level, like more DevOpify, like what advantage will it get if we choose the other route over this one?
Yeah, so for a personal project, it's not too critical. If this was a company service that you were deploying and you needed high uptime for, you would likely have multiple environments. You might have a development environment, a staging environment, and a production environment.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
So if you need to replicate the same environment across multiple different deployments, it's much easier if you can do that via a programmatic way. So like if we wanted to do this and we had to go through and do 20 clicks, each time, there's some likelihood, as perfect as you are at clicking, you might make a mistake. And then we could end up with some discrepancy between the two environments. And so by automating it, we can help to eliminate those human errors.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. I understand much better now.
Yeah, cool. And so it's giving us lots of different options here. Why don't you just search for Ubuntu at the top?
Okay. Ubuntu.
And so these are what are known as AMIs, Amazon Machine Images. It's essentially a operating system bundled up, ready to deploy onto an EC2 instance. So I don't know if you have a preference between which version of Ubuntu we want to use. What version or what operating system are you running locally?
It's
Windows
a
or
Mac.
Mac. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So it doesn't really matter. Let's just choose the latest long-term support. So that one at the top, the 20.04, 64-bit,
64.
x86 looks good. And so this is a really tiny application. It's not going to need too many resources. We could probably even get away with the T2 Nano. So why don't we go up to that top one?
Okay.
I believe. Oh, actually, since I think only the T2 Micro is in the free tier. So if you just signed up, we should have credits available to run a T2 Micro. I think for an entire year before they would start charging you for it.
Yeah.
And then after that, it would cost I think like $3 or $4 a month. And so that's a good one to get started. And 1 vCPU and 1 gigabyte of memory should be plenty for this application. So I think that should be good to go.
So review and launch or next?
Yep. Let's review and launch. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
So as you can see, the interface is somewhat confusing for someone who hasn't done this before. So now it's just kind of giving us the review. We chose the Ubuntu 20.04 on a T2 micro instance. We will connect to it via SSH on port 22. That should be good.
Okay.
Maybe open up these details tabs just to see what we have going on here. So it's going to do one instance. It's going to put it in the default virtual private network. We could have created a separate VPC, but we just decided not to since we're just getting started. Oh, and I see Ismail in the chat. So he says hello. Hey. This is someone who's very active in my Discord, so glad to see him here. Cool. So that all looks fine. Keep scrolling. Let's look at it. It probably gave us some default storage. Yeah, so it gave us an 8 gigabyte root volume. That all looks fine.
Yeah.
If we wanted to change the encryption settings for some reason, we could potentially modify the storage, but for this application, it should be okay.
Okay.
And what's
awesome.
the tags all about?
Tags are mostly just for organization. So if you're a company and you have your AWS account, you're running tons of different servers and applications, you could apply any tag you want, and those could be used for like billing purposes. Like let's say all of your AWS bill goes to your finance team, and they want to say, project number 1 is costing us this much, project number 2 is costing us that much. You could add tags saying which project it was associated with, and that sort of thing. It's mostly just for like tracking purposes and organization.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Perfect. So we won't need this. I'm just gonna go ahead and press launch.
Yeah. Okay, and so this is going to be how we actually connect to the device with a SSH pair. And so you might have one locally. You could either upload one into AWS, or we can just create one on the fly here. So why don't we go ahead and create a key pair?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can name it DevOps Office Hours or whatever you want to name it.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Nice camel case. Yeah.
And you do want to download it such that you'll be able to use it locally to connect. But then don't open that on screen.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a timely announcement. I was almost
about to open.
Cool. All right. So now if you do, we have a key pair, and it will essentially put that key pair, the public key, onto the instance, such that when you try to SSH into it, it will be able to validate that you are indeed who you say you are.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and click launch.
Launch.
Okay,
and this will take anywhere from 10 seconds to a minute. It's pretty quick. But let's go to view instances, that bottom right, and it should kind of give us a status as it comes online.
Okay, stay a sec.
Still pending.
And does the times, so when we were on the first page, it was checking which location are we connected to. Does it matter much? It was in Ohio when we started.
Yeah, so right now you see that availability zone on the right-hand side, US East 2B.
Yeah.
So that's telling us which location, which availability zone is the terminology, or which location or which data center this is located in. It matters because the further you are from the data center, the longer the latency will be. So if, let's say, if we had chosen some data center in India, it would be much slower to make these requests and send them back.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that the Discord data centers are on the East Coast. So it might have been ideal to choose one of Amazon's East Coast locations. For our purposes, it'll add milliseconds to the request. So it's not a huge deal. But if you did have a high load application and you wanted to make sure that latency was low, you would want to make sure to have potentially have deployments of your application close to the end users.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And let's say if this Discord server goes to the moon and millions of people
Which
are
it's
using it
going
from
to, correct, right?
and millions of
Soon.
people are using it
Fingers
from
crossed.
all over the world. Well, then will we have, let's say, the primary users are in US and in India. Then will we have two versions or two instances running, one in India to serve those users quickly, and then one in US? Is that possible, or is that all? I'm talking like a stupid person.
No, that's a very good question. I think the one complication in this case is that your Discord server is likely physically located somewhere. And so
Okay.
we want your application to be as close to that Discord server application as possible.
Okay.
And it's less important where the end user is, because the end
Okay.
user already has to communicate to that Discord server, right?
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Okay,
But if it
but
was-
generally, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was
Okay.
going to say, if it was a different application, you might want to have multiple instances running in multiple places to be closer to the end users. If there's large static content, oftentimes you'll use a CDN or a content delivery network. And so Amazon has that. All the major clouds have those. And that will actually stage those large files. Let's say it's a big media file, a video file. It would stage that at locations all around the world. And so then maybe your API server is centrally located. But when it needs to
Yeah.
pull in those big media files, it can do so from a much closer, faster location.
Yeah, a CDN works like a cache.
Yep, exactly. So it moves the large data files close to the end user, such that you're not trying to pull a gigabyte of video from
Yeah.
Ohio all the way to wherever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for explanation.
Sure, no problem. And it looks like in the meantime we're running. Also, we have
Okay.
a few viewers. If people want to drop where they're from in the chat, we'd love to hear who all's here and where you're viewing from. And in the meantime, we'll sort of continue on with the deployment. I see one comment here from Ramachandar. Hi guys, good morning. Where are you located? Good morning probably means you're in India.
I know. I know he's in India for sure because it's morning in India right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. There you go.
Cool. Well, glad to have you. Yeah, we had a time zone mix up, so the stream was later than expected. But I realized that this pushed it just late enough that it is morning time in India. So that's good.
Yeah.
We see
Yes.
Sergio here from Brazil. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
Cool. So we accomplished step 1. We have an instance. It is running on Amazon. So now we need to actually connect to this thing. There's a few different options. One, we have that SSH key, the key pair that we downloaded. We also, I think there's just sort of a web console. If you click into that instance ID,
Okay.
and then connect is grayed out. I wonder why that is. Let's scroll over there to connect. Does it give us any info? No?
No.
No,
Okay,
it's
no
disabled for some
Right.
reason.
Right. Scroll down.
Instant state. It still says it's
Oh
pending.
yeah, it says it's pending.
Oh, it's still pending.
so-
Okay. So that's probably why. It looked like it was
Yeah.
green in the last
Yeah.
set, so I
It
don't know.
was.
Maybe just refresh this page and see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's just
Let's try that.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah, it's
there we go.
running.
Now we're running. We've got the connect box.
Okay, I will click here.
Cool. So
Connect.
we can use this EC2 instance connect. So that'll just allow us to connect directly
Okay.
from the browser. We also can use an SSH client, which is probably what we'll eventually want to do. That's how we'll be able to copy the code in with an SCP command. We'll probably do the same from GitHub Actions eventually. So
Okay.
if you wanted to, you could just click that connect just to see how it
Okay.
works. And it should just bring up a terminal in the browser.
Yeah, okay.
And it'll take a little while to connect. And we are not running as the root user by default, I think. Right, we're running as the Ubuntu user. You can just do like a pwd enter to see where we are. We are in home Ubuntu, so that's just the home folder for that Ubuntu user. Cool, so this is just a live shell running on that machine. We could even, since it's just one file, we could cheat and just copy the code from our local system and paste it in on the browser. But let's go ahead and connect via SSH so that we can do that SCP command. or an rsync, either one.
So do you want us to do this on our terminal or the browser's terminal?
Let's go ahead and exit out of the browser terminal.
Okay.
I think you can just either close it there, and then click on the SSH client tab there. And it should just give us instructions on how to use the key file. And so probably just pull up your Mac OS terminal, either off the. I mean, you're not going to have to echo it out, but you could do it off the screen just to be safe, and we'll keep the crowd entertained. I see White Fang 007 joined us. He says hi, welcome. Where are you from, White Fang? Let us know in the chat. So yeah, wherever it downloaded that PEM file.
Yeah. So
open an SSH client, so we can do it from our.
You could just do it from the Mac terminal, yeah.
Yeah.
It should be installed by default. White Fang is also in India. Awesome. We've got a strong Indian presence waking up and hopping on the stream.
Good morning, folks from India.
And he asks, why don't you just put it on GitHub and clone it from there? We could do that. They have already created a GitHub repo, and it is a public repo, so we could
that's a good idea.
Do that option as well.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to install Git on the machine first, right? On the
Correct.
machine.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get SSH'd in, and then we can choose one of those two options: either copy it from your local system or clone it from Git.
Yeah. So we ran this command.
Okay. So that command is basically going to change the permissions on that .pem file, such that the SSH command is going to be able to actually read it, and then if you are in the same directory,
I'm almost.
You should be able to run that SSH.
I'll just bring in the terminal here for now.
Yeah, that's fine.
And this is the second one. So we.
Yeah, so the second that line. So that's just the address for the machine. So you don't actually have to run that. You could, see how they copied it into after the @ sign. It's the same.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So they're just showing you what the address is, and they've already created the command for you, as long as you're in the same directory as that key.
Yeah. We are.
So it's going to essentially check the fingerprint of that machine. It takes a hash of some configuration. And so that allows you to know if someone has modified the machine for any reason. This would change the fingerprint, and then it would stop you from doing something. So if there was some malicious actor that had gotten a hold of your Amazon account and modified it in some way, this fingerprint would change, and you would then be able to detect that. In this case, it is what it is. We want to accept it. And then moving forward, we shouldn't get this warning anymore. But that is something that we'll need to take into account when we move to GitHub Actions, because that first time that we SSH in, we will need to actually have set that known hosts such that we don't get that prompt, and we can already pre-accept it.
Okay.
So yeah, now we have a shell on your macOS terminal that is live on that machine. So that is perfect. Again, we should see exactly like we did when we were on the Cloud Console. We're in the machine. We're in that home Ubuntu directory, and that is good. Let's take White Fang's suggestion, and let's go ahead and just let's install Git and clone it. So we'll probably have to do an apt update before we can install Git.
Yeah. Sudo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it as
sudo. Oh.
Yeah, sudo is the solution to all our problems. Okay, till then we'll copy the.
So now we still that just got us the latest packages. We still need to do sudo apt install Git, unless you did it too fast for me to even notice.
Sudo no. Apt install Git. Okay.
So now it's going to find that package, and okay.
And then we go and get clone.
Clone, and then grab the repo on the green code button, drop it down. It'll give you a URL.
Okay.
And so since it's a public repo, we should just be able to put it in with no credentials.
Yeah.
And that is good.
Yeah,
And so
all
now
good.
we should have a repo.
Yeah, funny
Yes.
Discord bot.
Funny
We have it.
Discord. So let's change directory into that.
All right.
Great. And then we're going to need to just run node. I don't know if it'll be installed by default. Probably not. Just node enter.
I think we're gonna have to install it. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, let's go ahead and install it. Are there any particular versions that we need, or is
No.
probably the default's probably fine for what we've got?
Yeah, the default long-term one would be fine.
Yeah, if we cared about a specific
Okay.
version, we would probably want to use something like npx, which will allow you to get a particular version and manage that.
I think the current long-term version should be fine. I guess that's 14.
That's-
14 is the LTS one right now.
Yeah. I think that's what we
let's.
used.
What did we do? A node version and see what we get. And Ismail says, doing a live is no easy task for sure. So this is the first one in the series, and so far seems to be going okay.
Is it minus
Dash
V?
we. Yeah, dash we.
Yeah, it's 10.19.
But it installed 10.19.
I guess
Yeah,
it
so-
should be fine, but we can upgrade it if we want.
Yeah, it should be fine though.
Yeah, so I think it's probably that just Ubuntu by default installs a very old version. Let's see. We might as well do a newer version, right?
Maybe it's the package manager that we used, apt. The version that apt has for Node.js is version 10.19.0.
Yeah, that was just the
But-
default. It might have additional versions if you specify. I'm just trying to look
Okay.
up
Okay.
how to do a newer version on Ubuntu.
I think this should work too. And this would serve our purpose though.
Naveen Sani mentioned that voice is not there.
Voice is not coming.
It says voice is not coming. For which of us is the voice not coming through? And if others in the chat can confirm, that would be great. And then I see Ali in the audience has code on one screen, watching you. On
Yeah,
another.
watching on another.
That's
great,
great.
buddy.
That's great.
Nice.
All of you. He says.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's
Ali says he can
coming.
hear us.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
We will continue on then. So let's proceed with version 10, and then if we run into a roadblock, we can upgrade
Yeah.
down the road.
All right.
Okay. We will also probably need npm. So npm,
Yeah.
should it be installed by default when we add node, or will we need to install that separately?
I think it
I
should
think
be.
it should be. Oh no.
No.
Okay.
Okay, let's just install that.
Yeah, and so this is the type of thing that you could automate. Like if you had your infrastructure as code, you would likely build a specific AMI, one of the, like how we chose the default Ubuntu AMI. We could have taken, we could basically install everything we need except for our source code, and then
Okay.
bundle that up as its own AMI, such that when we spawned a future server, it would have all of this sort of snapshotted in by default.
Okay, so it's like we are cloning the same virtual machine.
Exactly, yeah. So the AMI gives you the definition for the virtual machine, and then we wouldn't have to go do this on each server that we provisioned.
Okay, perfect.
Is this equivalent to like a Docker image?
It's similar. So this is an AMI that's spawning a virtual machine. A Docker container is virtualizing at a different layer. So each virtual machine is going to have its own complete OS in it. A Docker container or Docker image is sharing one OS, and it's just using namespaces and control groups within the Linux system, within the Linux kernel, to isolate the different containers. So it's a similar concept, but its execution is a little different.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. So it's
Yeah.
almost done, 99%.
It's always a lie, though, right? It gets to 99, and then it sits,
Yeah.
there, for,
And then yeah.
sits there for a little while.
Yeah. Okay, all good.
Okay, so we're there, and we have our package and package lock. So we should just be able to do an npm install, I would think.
Yep.
Okay. See what we got here.
Yeah, it looks like it worked.
Yep.
Great. And so the one other thing is that your app is expecting the Discord token as an environment variable, right?
True.
Yeah.
So why don't you go off screen with your terminal and do an export and then whatever the name of the environment variable is, and then equals the value.
Okay. So we are going off screen. It's a super secret key.
Right. That's right. For this high security Discord client.
Yeah. We have a lot of high-end clients who...
Right. We would not want them disturbed.
Exactly. Okay.
And if you are watching and you want to hit the like button, that can help to bring additional audience members in if you're enjoying the stream, and that would help us out. So feel free to do so.
Sorry, what was the command that you said? Token?
It'll be the export. So lowercase export,
yes.
And then space,
Yes.
and then the name of the environment variable equals,
perfect.
and then the value of the environment variable.
Perfect.
And Ali is providing it for us in the comments here. You don't have to capitalize export though. So I don't, is it case sensitive? I forget if it is or not. I usually don't capitalize that.
Okay, so
this command should exactly form like a environment variable file, like a .env file.
Say that again. Your audio lagged just a bit.
So I was asking if this command is supposed to create an environment variable file.
It will not create an environment variable file. It will just create that environment variable in the environment. So now if we do like stay off screen, do echo, and then the $sign.
The name of the variable.
$sign and then the name of the variable, and it'll echo it out into the terminal. And then you can clear, and then we'll that'll just confirm that it's set.
Yeah.
All right, we got it. Okay.
We got it. Okay.
White Fang asks, this is a Linux command, right? Yeah, so they are running on a MacBook, but they are SSH'd into that Linux machine running in AWS. So everything that we show in the SSH terminal will be Linux based.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to let Ali know, export worked with lowercase as well in our case.
Yeah, he said uppercase. I've always used lowercase, so I don't know about the
maybe it is not case sensitive, but
yeah.
Okay,
cool.
So all good. We have the environment variable over here.
Yeah, and so you had your bot running in Replit. So is it still running there? We should take it down if it's not, just so we can confirm that it is this copy and not the other copy.
Sure. So we just stopped it.
Okay. And so let's bring up the Discord and just confirm that it doesn't do anything when we try, so we don't fool ourselves.
Yes. So if I write something, nothing happens.
Just chatting, just asking himself for a joke.
Exactly. Super sophisticated application.
Okay, so now we should just be able to run node, and then is it index.js or server.js?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, index.js.
Index.js.
Whoop.
Okay.
Login successful. That is good.
Yes.
Let's bring up the
Discord channel and try it out.
Yeah, type in.
Funny.
Oh,
and there you go.
Why do Python programmers wear glasses? Because they can't see.
All right.
Not bad.
Not bad. And Ismail asks, so it is in memory, right? And that is correct. Yeah. So we have stored it in memory, and it's only specific to this particular shell. So if we opened up a new SSH session to this virtual machine, that export command would not apply. What we've done so far is just all manual to get things running. We haven't really done things the right way, but we just wanted to get to this point where we can celebrate. We had a success.
Yes, it's the
as quickly as
first
possible.
milestone.
Right.
Yes.
So that was milestone number 1. We're 35 minutes in, so that's pretty good. It's not bad. Cool. And so now there are a few things that we can do to improve this, right? So remember, if we just launch it with Node, this session has to remain open, or else the program's going to stop and we're not going to be running anymore. And so that's not very practical, right? For you to stay there at your laptop 24/7, waiting for joke requests to come in. The whole point of having a virtual machine running in a data center is that you don't have to do that.
Exactly.
So why don't you Control C or Command C to kill the program?
Okay.
We can do one thing to run it in the background right away. We can do what's called nohup, NOHUP, and so that will tell Docker, don't execute it yet, but that will tell the shell that we want to detach the execution of this program that we're about to run from the current shell session. So if we log out from our current Ubuntu shell, it would not kill that program. So then do space node index.js and then the and sign afterwards. Space ampersand ampersand, not dollar.
Sorry,
yeah. So the ampersand is going to return back to the terminal such that it won't stay open there. So if you run that, it should start, and then that's just saying where, instead of putting the output directly into the terminal like it did above, it is putting it to this output file. Cool. But now let's go back and we can try a joke in Discord. It should still work.
It does, but yeah.
Oh, it doubled. Interesting.
Yep.
So let's go back to maybe when we Control C, it didn't actually kill the program. Can you run just top, TOP? We might have to install it, but. So top gives us a listing of all of the processes running on this system. And do we see any that look like our node process?
Let's see.
Excuse me.
And it would likely be under the Ubuntu user rather than the root user. Yeah, so Whitefang is suggesting that we grep for it. And so, are you familiar with grep, a tool for searching strings? Yeah.
So we want to search for a node.
You can search
but we want to search from the top results, right? So we want to do something like top and then the vertical bar to pipe that output. Sorry, vertical bar, not that. The shift backslash, just one. And so what one vertical bar? No, you're good. I was just saying it's on the shift backslash. What that does is take the output of top and pipe it into the grep command. So it'll take all this string that's on the screen, pipe it into grep, and then we'll be able to search it. So let's search either Ubuntu to search the user column or maybe node, either one. I don't think you even need quotes.
Oh, okay.
Just, that should be fine. Not getting. Okay, so we see that the only program running under the Ubuntu user is top itself, which is kind of funny, right? So go ahead and kill that. And Sergio is suggesting that we use the PS command instead. So we could try the PS command.
So just PS minus E?
Yep.
Okay.
And so there we see node at the bottom, and that gives us the ID there, the 12975. Let's scroll up and see if we're expecting to have 2 instances of it running, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you could, why don't we kill that one and then do ps-e and then grep for node, and it should hopefully give us just 2 outputs.
Okay.
So for the command for killing, we have no idea about these things. Sorry.
If you had to guess, though.
Kill.
Hey.
I'm gonna go with kill. Kill node.
I guess we have to
we
enter
have
the
to
process ID.
Yeah, enter the ID of the process. Okay. Terminated.
Boom.
And then PS minus E.
So why
Okay.
don't you grep through the
Okay.
results of PS minus E with the vertical bar?
Yes, perfect. And now I know how to
grep
do it.
Node.
And no.
Yeah, we're learning so much.
Okay, so it looks like
Nothing.
we don't. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Try your Discord bot again here.
Okay.
Like the fact that we were attached to that initial running.
It works fine now.
But
but where is that running?
yeah, that's
Right? Like that's a mystery.
Well, wait. If I
Is
try
the
again.
Replit instance running?
Oh my god, Replit automatically started our instance again because we asked Replit to always keep it active. So even if we stopped it ourselves, after a while it just restarted it.
Oh, all right. So that makes a lot more sense. Because it didn't make sense that first instance was still alive even after we'd killed it.
Yeah. Okay.
If
All
we
right.
could just disable the always on option, is it possible?
Yeah, for now, why don't we do that just so we don't confuse ourselves again with mystery copies of our application running in the background.
Okay, so Kritika will do that on the side because
Okay.
I guess she has shared this with me and I don't have the access to stop this, so she'll need to log in. So we'll do that until we continue.
That sounds good. And I see Marek from the Null channel just joined us. So welcome. Thanks for joining. That was a fun little mishap we had there.
Yeah.
While she's doing that, do you want to just run ls in the terminal there, and let's see if that output file, the log file, is located there?
Sure. So we have
So that nohup.app. Why don't you cat that? So cat nohup.app should tab complete. So remember when we first launched it, we were attached to that program, and it was printing all the output into the terminal. Once we did the ampersand, it was connected then, and the nohup, we connected and instead put all output into this output file. So that was the joke that we got back when we issued it.
So this will basically help us to review the logs even like later on. It will, and for how many days will it save the logs?
So this is just a file that lives on that file system. So there's nothing that's set up to delete them. So for now, infinite number of days.
Infinite.
If you wanted to adjust that, you might look at it and maybe use a separate log file for each day or something. Or you could log them if you wanted to into I forget what Amazon's logging service is called. On Google, it's called Stackdriver, but AWS logging, what is it even called these days? CloudWatch or something?
Yeah, I think it's CloudWatch.
Yeah, CloudWatch logs.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Yeah, so you could configure your application, and there's likely a Node.js client or something you could install to send your logs into CloudWatch, and that would give you a much better way to search amongst them and do that sort of thing. For this simple of an app, it's not too critical.
Okay.
Okay, Sergio says... So Sergio says it's kind of magic.
It was magic. So, we tried to kill it and it came back alive. It's like the zombie app.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like now I've disabled it. So if we try again, it should not be on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I just checked
now,
it was
it's okay, cool.
Yeah, so if we do a joke now, we should get no response, correct?
Yes, exactly. Correct.
All right. And we have the Null channel giving us some suggestions here. He says, real solution is that you should run it using Kubernetes, GitOps, and Cryo. Your current deployment is just too simple. And so what do you guys think? Should we scrap our plan and go with that?
Kubernetes, GitOps, and Cryo.
Wow.
I often joke with Marek about complexity and system complexity. So maybe we should just go for it. We'll be here till midnight, but midnight Pacific time.
Yeah.
We'll get it done.
Sure.
Okay, so we accomplished our first milestone. Like I said, we probably want to run it with like a no-hup command in the background. The other thing that I'll suggest is a process manager called PM2, which is a Node.js package or process manager that gives you some nice things like you can have multiple instances of your app with a load balancer in front of it. You can do things like monitor to make sure it's healthy. So if we wanted to, we could do that. It might be a good idea. Or we could jump right to the Discord, the GitHub action. What do you think? So let's do the PM2 thing.
Okay, sure.
So why don't you just Google PM2 in the browser on the left, and we'll just get the instructions on how to install it. I think it's just going to be an npm install. Hopefully this might be where we run into Node being too old. Yeah, so let's just globally install it with npm. Cross our fingers and hope that Node 10 is not too ancient.
Okay.
Permission denied. Okay, I guess
we just need to do a
sudo. When in doubt, sudo.
Yeah. Cool. So PM2 helps you manage and keep your application online 24/7. Okay.
Oh, it's a daemon process manager, so it runs in the background always.
Yep. So did we? Looks like that was a success, right? We got a couple warnings, but that's fine. So now just do PM2 and make sure it's available. Awesome. Got some nice ASCII art. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. And so to use PM2, we basically just do from within this directory PM2 and then start and then index.js. And so now PM2 is managing that process. It should be running just fine in, depending on whether the environment got picked up, that environment variable, but it looks like it came online successfully. So let's check in Discord, make sure.
Yeah, we're going to
sure
check on Discord.
Let's bring up the Discord server. Let's try joke one more time.
And the null channel asks if we're using Elastic Beanstalk. We aren't. We just spawned this EC2 instance manually. Elastic Beanstalk is an interesting idea. It's kind of a wrapper that AWS provides around EC2 and some other services to make things simpler to get started, and will provide some niceness around deployments out of the box. We were planning to just set up a GitHub action to essentially SSH into the machine, get the latest version of the code, and then spawn a new instance with this PM2, but that is an interesting idea to use Elastic Beanstalk.
Elastic Beanstalk. Yeah, I'll take a note of this. Just to probably after the live stream, I'll look it
up. Yeah.
I haven't worked with it personally.
Okay.
Yeah. It might be a way to eliminate whatever hacky GitHub action we come up with and use something that will be a little more polished out of the box potentially. I'm not sure exactly what niceness it provides, but I think I've heard some other people use it.
Okay.
Might be some GitHub actions for Elastic Beanstalk. Yeah, that's true. It is probably more likely to have something sort of pre-packaged for Elastic Beanstalk. We'll probably just end up writing something quick in Bash to SSH in and grab the code or copy the code over.
Okay.
Cool. So PM2 is working. We're running.
Yes.
What is the PM2 command to check? I think you can just do like list out all the apps that are running and their status.
Okay, let's see.
I'm trying to look up the various commands. I haven't used PM2 too much because I'm usually running stuff within containers. So one thing we might want to do is provide a name for the app when we start it. So we just did PM2 start index.js, and so it named our app index. Index is not really that meaningful of a name. So why don't we do PM2 stop index?
Okay. And with the dash
That stops
name?
it. It would be dash name, but let's also, I forget if it's delete or remove or what. Yeah, delete. So it stopped it, but it's still listed there, right? So we can actually delete that just to clean it up. So PM2 delete index.
Yeah, now we don't have anything.
Now it's gone. And then, yeah, let's go ahead and start it again and name it Discord bot or whatever you want to name it.
Yep.
Sergio says Beanstalk is cool. It works with spot instances as well. So spot instances are a discounted instance type that Amazon offers, but the caveat is that they can revoke that instance from you at any given time if they need it. So you're paying a much lower rate, but you might lose it at any time. So the one place that works really well is if you have a Kubernetes cluster. Some of your nodes can be on spot instances or preemptible instances is what Google Cloud calls them. And so if your application is running there and you have multiple instances across different nodes, it's okay if one of them gets pulled down, your app still stays alive. In this case, if we just had a single instance and it was on a spot instance, likely every so often it would get killed by Amazon. But yeah, cool. Wow. So we now have our new discordbot.js named app. Okay. It is online. It seems to be working just fine. And that is good to go. Cool. So why don't we go ahead and start working on an action. So you have the GitHub repo up there.
Yes, over here.
Cool. The actions, they have an interface to edit the actions directly in the browser. You could also edit it in VS Code or whatever your code editor of choice is. Either one is fine if you have a preference.
Yeah, we can just use actions for now because we coded on Replit. We didn't actually put it in our VS Code.
Sure. So we should be able to... Is there just like a create action button somewhere? I've always just done it from VS Code, but I've seen people use the browser. Maybe you can't create it initially though. Maybe you have to create it and push your initial action.
I guess if Kritika just logs in, maybe she will see more.
Oh, because you're not on the repo?
Yeah, actually it's...
You're not an owner?
Okay. I'm not an owner, yeah. Kritika is the boss, so we'll allow her to log in.
Yeah, I'm going to log in and try to do
it. The null channel says, Beanstalk, in my opinion, is a pretty powerful and simple tool. To be honest, some people could use Beanstalk better than Kubernetes, even though it hurts his heart to say it. Yeah, I mean, most people, I think a lot of people jump to Kubernetes before they potentially need it and would benefit from a Beanstalk or maybe even a full platform as a service like a App Engine or a Heroku until it becomes too expensive. Also, question for the people in the audience, would low-level music be nice in the background on these streams? This is our first one, so we're figuring it out. So give me a vote, thumbs up or thumbs down on the music, and we can incorporate that into future streams.
Yep. Till then, I'll just add it to my VS Code. If it gets easier, we'll just use that. And I'll allow Kritika to bring her laptop till then.
Ali says, just like me, and that's in reference, I just spoke to Ali yesterday on the phone about, he was thinking about migrating to Kubernetes. And I said, I don't know. It seems like your App Engine is working pretty well. So yeah, it's interesting. Kubernetes is a very powerful tool, but it's also quite complex.
Yeah, we have heard a lot about Docker Kubernetes almost being like mentioned along with each other. But yeah, DevOps is a completely distinct world for us. Like we can build websites like 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, but we have no idea about how to deploy things. And like it really looks overwhelming. Like when we just did very basic stuff today, I guess, for in terms of DevOps. It's not some rocket science that we are doing today, but still it's very different. It's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many pieces that go into building and running a web application that it certainly can be overwhelming when you get started.
Okay, so yeah, here is the VS Code. We have our code and everything.
Great. So to create a action, you need to create, I believe it's a .workflows directory. Sorry, it's a .github directory at the top level. So create a new directory in your top level.
Okay.
And
dot
name
GitHub.
it .github.
Okay.
And then create a directory within that called workflows. And so this is where GitHub will look for any configurations for various workflows. And then within this directory, any file that we put in there, and these will be YAML files, will get picked up as potential workflows that it's going to try to run, depending on the different triggers that you have.
Okay.
And so let's just create, I'm sure there's like a hello world action that we can find on the GitHub website that'll give us just a very simple thing that's going to run when we push to the main branch, and it'll print something to console, and that'll be a good start.
Okay, I'll search for that.
And we'll name it something like deploy.yaml, like Ali suggests. We've got a couple of additional comments. Madhan K says, I guess that is why Google launched Autopilot. Yeah, Autopilot's interesting. It adds one more layer. It takes one more piece of responsibility away from the end user and onto Google's plate. Autopilot is basically their version of Google Kubernetes engine, but you no longer manage anything to do with the nodes. You only manage your application workloads. I had not played around with it until my latest video, if anyone saw that one, where I was spawning 10,000 pods onto a Kubernetes cluster. I tried to use Autopilot, and it enforces a minimum resource request of 250 millicpu and 512 megabytes of memory. And so that kind of blew my quota out of the water, and I didn't have enough quota, and it would have costed me a lot more money than it did. So I think it's an interesting concept, but there are some pretty strict limitations around, especially the fact that you can't use admission mutating webhooks is a challenge for a variety of reasons. But yeah, interesting product for sure. Pravin Jha says, "Good morning, guys. Good morning."
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm now glad that we did this later. We're getting all the people waking up in India.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. I guess it's 11 p.m. here, so it must be about.
It's from Nepal.
Cool.
Okay, nice. So it must be about 8:39 a.m. in Nepal right now.
So is this the first thing in the morning that you guys are watching?
That's right.
Awesome.
They hop on and they're ready for DevOps.
Yes.
That's awesome. Oh, we also have the GitHub Actions right now here. Actually, Kritika logged in while we were discussing some other things. And so it's really up to you which option you want to choose. We have VS Code ready and the GitHub Actions.
Let's go ahead and finish the one we were doing in VS Code. We'll just get a kind of a hello world working. And then once it's in the browser, we can use the browser editor from there.
Okay. So you said we can start a basic one by searching about it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some hello world.
Okay, GitHub action, hello world. Oh, this is a course. No, this one looks good.
Yeah, so
we have
into
GitHub
their workflows directory. Yeah, licensed. What is that? Oh, check licenses. Here, I'll just. There's a repo that I made called Stupid Actions, where I did a bunch of stupid stuff in GitHub Actions. And so I will paste you a link in the chat. Actually, I'll just do it in the main chat here.
Okay.
And so that one is just a hello world script.
Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, this looks much.
There's lots of stupid actions in that repo, so people should go check it out. It's pretty fun.
We're gonna do a YAML script. Okay.
Yep. So
Are
we'll
we
just
gonna
call
do
this
like-
one. Let's just call this one like deploy.yaml, just because that's what we're gonna do. I think it could be YAML or just YML.
YML works too.
Yep. You put 2 periods though. Yep.
Yeah.
Paste it in.
I copied it. Yep.
And so then the one thing we need to modify is the on push. So we want to do it whenever we push to the main.
Master.
Is it main or master?
Oh, I guess
If you
GitHub
made it
renamed
recently,
it to
it'll be
main.
main.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
so
it's
it's master.
master.
here.
It's still
Wow,
master.
Okay.
The other
So,
day I created a repo, it was main. I guess because Replit pushed it, maybe.
Could be their default. Yeah, so we'll want to
Yeah.
change that to master.
Yeah. Yeah, change this one to
Yeah.
master. Perfect. The name hello world is fine, I guess.
Yeah, so that should be good. Name, yeah, I mean, you can name it deploy because that's what we're eventually going to do with it. But for now, hello world makes sense.
Okay.
And so it's basically just saying every time that we push to the master branch in this repo, we're going to run these jobs. And the job is running on Ubuntu latest. So it's just running in an Ubuntu, I believe it's in a container. And then it's going to run these steps. And there's only one step. And that step just says echo hello world. So what we should expect is that when we commit this, in the actions tab, we'll have this action triggered. We can go in and see hello world printed out in the logs, and that will be good.
And this right here is the name of the job, like hello.
That's the name of the job inside of the workflow.
So I guess if you wanted it to deploy it to a staging server and a production server, we would have 2 different jobs for that. Is that correct?
You could have 2 different jobs, or within the job, you could have logic that would check like, or set some environment variables differently, or choose a different deployment target. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, all done.
Ali says, does it contain any monorepo actions? Biggest problem with monorepo is you change only one thing, other builds will also proceed. So that is a challenge with monorepos. GitHub Actions allows you to filter on a particular subdirectory. So you could say only trigger this action if this branch of my directory tree changed. So that helps a little bit, but it's not a full-fledged solution to solve that issue. But it does help quite a bit. Great. So yeah, let's just go ahead and
just commit this change.
Commit and push. We'll all judge you for your commit message, so make it a good one. You think I'm joking?
The pressure is on.
That's right. What's it going to be?
I never thought about the commit message more than I'm thinking right now. Deploy init.
All right. Cool. Now let's go ahead and push it. Returned an error. Are you?
Oh, permissions denied. Okay. So
why? Oh, okay.
So we'll ask.
I mean, we could just.
I could just share it.
So I guess you can do.
Yeah, I could just share it with you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Here we go.
Ollie is suggesting an improved GitHub commit message, prefixing a feature.
Okay.
That's a good idea. So you can sort of separate in your commit messages whether something's a feature or a bug. You've already committed it though, so now we're just trying to put.
I can do an amend.
Oh, we can amend it.
I can show off some skills.
Like it's already committed locally.
But it will.
You could.
It will change
it doesn't actually matter. I'm just pulling your leg.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's one good thing you can do with commit messages is say whether it's a feature or bug or documentation change, etc. So that's a
generally we work on different branches. So we add this prefix feature or a bug in front of the name of the branch. So that way you don't have to add it to each of the commit message.
And then do you squash when you merge usually?
Yeah. Yes, it's still denied. It says the permission is denied. Okay, I need to
You need to accept it as
accept
well.
the response. Okay, let's quickly do that. Okay. And so once we push this commit, we will see like a kind of a play button on GitHub
we
automatically.
should see a line under the Actions tab of this workflow running.
Okay. Okay, so I accepted the invitation, so all should be good now. Let's try to push it again. Okay,
Awesome.
perfect.
Da-da-da.
A few hiccups over there, but we are getting there. We are getting there.
So yeah, let's go to the Actions tab now. So the code is there. That's good. GitHub Workflows.
Okay.
Actions tab, feature GitHub Actions init. Click into there and we can see the logs. Just click on, yeah. Click into the hello step.
Wow. Okay.
So run one line script is the name of the step that we defined.
Yes.
And
Okay.
there we say run hello world and we got hello world back. Cool.
Cool, pretty cool.
So we now have this workflow set up. What steps do we need to take within the workflow? So let's go back to the workflow and just add some comments to say like what the workflow actually needs to do to get a plan for ourselves.
Okay.
Cool. So we probably don't need to echo hello world, but we can just leave it there for now. What are the different steps that we're going to need to do to redeploy our application?
So I guess we
just need to, I think, clone the repository.
and
then
we just need to pull the repository to get the latest code.
Yeah, pull it and then just run the node file.
Yeah, there must be a restart kind of command for the daemon that we used.
Yeah, so PM2 would have a restart. I think the one complication here is that if we just go onto the machine and get the latest code and do, we'll need to do an npm install, right, in case we changed any dependencies. And so if we were already running and then we did an npm install, I don't actually know what would happen. Would that be okay, or would that be an issue? Like, would it cause...
Well, can't we do a npm install and
first and then...
Because I guess...
yeah. I'm just reading, I just Googled it. Stack Overflow says you can't set Node.js to do this since Node doesn't know anything about NPM. I wouldn't recommend it. If you mistyped, it could download. Okay, so it seems like it could potentially be risky in case you made a mistake, but it might work. Yeah, so I think there's a few different things we could do. We could copy the application into a new directory on the file system of the virtual machine. We could build it there, and then we could stop the application as it's running and then start the new application immediately thereafter. If we don't care about downtime, it might even just be simpler to get the new version of the code, stop the application, install any dependencies, and then start the application.
Yeah, I guess we can go that route. I do have a question. Like what I thought from my understanding was that even if we change something in our code, until we restart, that change won't be reflected in our actual running instance. So my understanding was that even if I run npm install, but I don't restart my daemon, the thing should be fine.
Because it's already loaded all those packages into memory. I mean, that sounds reasonable. It just... Because I normally work with these immutable Docker containers and I start one and stop the other, I'm not actually sure what happens in this case. And I think you might be right that it's already loaded those into memory and it wouldn't be an issue.
So let's take the risk.
Yeah, let's go for it. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's just add some comments, which will be, I think, a hashtag down below to add new steps.
Okay.
So first, we'll probably want to SSH into that machine. Then we'll need to, and we may just want to send remote SSH commands. So like with the SSH in Linux or Mac, you can either SSH and then get an open terminal, or you can send one command or multiple commands to be executed. So we might end up just doing that instead. In order to do that, as Ali pointed out, we will need to configure our SSH key in GitHub Actions as a secret. There's two options. I think we could either use our key as is. That's probably the simplest just to get started. Or we could store an AWS credential and grant that AWS account. We could create a specific account and basically tell it only to have access to our virtual machine. We could use that to authenticate. I think for now, let's just use the secret key that we already have and put it as a, use that to authenticate.
So we need to bring it up in this directory, or?
No, so we'll actually put it into GitHub as a secret. So go back to the GitHub interface.
Oh, okay.
So they have a whole system configured for this. So if we go to settings and then secrets down there towards the bottom.
Okay.
And so this is, manage environments and secrets.
I guess we should be doing it on another screen.
This is fine. This is just the name of the environment. But when we paste it in, it'll probably be starred out, but yeah.
Required reviewers.
I guess we can just go to environment secrets and
add the secret.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what it's doing up above is because these values are sensitive, if there's like workflows that might do something with them, you can change the GitHub settings such that it will ask one of the project owners before it executes that workflow, right? So it gives you kind of a manual check if you want it. Cool. So yeah.
Add secret.
Yep.
Oh, we have to paste the value.
Yeah, so that we can do off
bring
screen.
it. Yeah.
And any particular name we should give it?
Let's actually, before we do that, let's just search for like GitHub action SSH and find an action that will send those SSH commands for us. We also could just do it with Bash, but here's one, GitHub action appleboy/SSH action. Ali asks, why are we not using a GitHub template action? Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting, is that we actually search the marketplace to find an action that exists.
So I guess
also
in here?
No, just that's the VS Code marketplace. Just go into GitHub Action Marketplace. There's kind of a whole search interface on the GitHub website.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Open that in a new tab, maybe, or and then we can just click Actions.
There we go.
Actions.
And then just search SSH.
SSH.
SSH setup, SSH pipeline.
SSH deploy.
Yeah, so there's lots of them here. We can just do remote SSH or SSH command. That one with 1.2K stars. That's a good sign when you have a lot of stars.
Okay.
Click into that.
Yeah.
Use latest version.
So let's look at what this does. Basically, it looks like it's just going to be able to, we'll give it some commands, we'll give it the key, and hopefully it will just send those commands to our machine for us. We shall see.
Yeah.
Great.
So install.
Let's use latest version. It should just give us that command. And so now we'll copy that into our action file.
Okay.
And we'll probably want to pull up this side by side with that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that we can look at all the options and stuff. So yeah, let's paste in what we just copied, and that'll be a step, and we can remove that step since we don't actually care about echoing hello world. And indentation does matter in YAML, so we'll need to get the indentation right. So we need to go back one with the name, and then forward a few with that. I think those both need to come back one now. Line 11, you need to backspace.
No.
And then space between,
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the second line doesn't have a dash. So the dashes indicate each item in the list, and so those two are a pair. It has a name and the action.
Okay.
So let's scroll down on the left-hand side, and let's look at all the different options that we have. And it looks like it's actually going to use 3 secrets, so we may need to change or we didn't actually create the secret yet, but we'll want to set the host, scroll up. Oh, so it's actually just giving us the option to do a username and password instead of the SSH key. So that might be a simpler way to get it working quickly, just so you guys can go to bed. And then you could update it later if you wanted.
Okay, sure.
White Fang's asking if we can increase the font. Can we increase just on the code or on the browser or both?
We're gonna do both.
Okay. So let's go back to whoa, nice, better. Go back to the AWS console, that tab up there, the one next to it.
Yeah.
And so let's see if we can add a just username and password to our EC2 instance to make it super easy. Because right now we just have our SSH key to connect. Okay, so do you still have the terminal where we SSH'd into that machine?
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, so we're there. So let's add a password for the Ubuntu user. And so it'll be sudo passwd password wd space Ubuntu for the user.
Okay.
And then I believe it'll ask you what it is. It shouldn't show it, but you probably want to move it anyways, just to be double safe.
Yeah.
And so
but
this
it doesn't show it.
It doesn't show it? Okay, then we're good.
Yeah.
So you make up a password that you're going to remember. Okay. Password 123. That's a good one. Yeah. Cool. So that password is there, but then we're going to need to modify the configuration. Actually, I'm just on this. I'll just paste this page is the guide that I'm following. So you can pull it up on your side as well. So I'm not just reading commands to you. We're adding a password for that user, and then we're modifying the SSHD configuration to enable password authentication.
So right now.
So I think we're on step 3 now.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll need to modify. Hopefully, you know how to use Vim enough to do it. Oh, that's weird.
I can copy it. Password
authentication. We would want to go down
yes.
to that line at the bottom.
Yes.
And then just press. Pub key authentication. It's in the middle.
I have to go. Yes.
You got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So then hit the I key for insert mode, and then backspace, and then hit escape.
Okay.
And then
colon WQ.
Yep.
Perfect. Oh, I was supposed to change another.
No,
field.
that's only if you want to enable root login, and we do not want
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
and if you scroll to the top, let's just show that warning just so everyone sees it and knows that we know all the way at the top of that page. It gives us a nice warning that
Oh,
we
to
should
the
not do
top.
this. The SSH even further. There we go. Basically, if we want after the stream, I would say go in and figure out how to use that SSH key because it'll be a more secure
Yeah.
method.
For sure.
But we're just doing this for the sake of speed. Ali says he spent 5 hours getting stuck in a Vim file one time. So luckily he made it out and onto the live stream. Cool. And so
Yeah, I learned my lesson the hard way as well.
yeah, so in general, we would want to use that key, but just to get this up and running, we're going to use a password.
Okay.
Cool. So now we need to restart the SSH service. So keep going down to step 4 or 5, I think.
Okay. So just run this on the.
Yeah, we might need a sudo. We might not. Who knows?
Let's try. Okay.
I have to enter the password I just created.
Yeah.
I forgot.
But
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wasn't it password?
Okay. Authentication
okay.
complete.
So let's now exit.
So you want me to type exit?
Yep.
Okay.
And now let's try to SSH in with that password. So SSH, actually just press the up key once.
Yeah.
And then get rid of the office hours PEM key. And hopefully it will ask us for a password instead.
Yeah, let's see.
Get rid of the I, sorry. The I was
Okay.
telling it to use the key.
Okay.
So this is your password.
With the super secure.
Yeah, it's
Everyone knows now.
okay.
I hope so. Great. So now that's working locally. And
Yeah.
so now what we need to do is add those things as secrets in the GitHub repo. So let's go ahead and do that.
Okay. So we have the GitHub repo over here. So here.
And so there were 3 things that it was asking for in that action.
Yeah.
So go
And
close that
host
tab.
name.
I think close that tab and go to the one next to it.
SSH remote.
Yeah, exactly. So host, username, and password.
Yeah.
So we'll name one host, and that will be the. Go back to your terminal, and we can copy it from there.
This one?
Starting after the @ sign, yeah. Just after
Okay.
the @ sign. EC2 3.
I'll change it
Yeah,
over
yeah.
there now.
That's fine.
There's no going back. Okay.
Add secret.
And so actually, we might just be able to add that as an environment variable versus a secret. So exit out. Let's see if we can add it as, because if you do a secret, then GitHub treats it differently. Is there anything? Is there like a non-secret
Environment
environment?
secret.
We can. I think we can add it in the GitHub action workflow itself, like in the YAML file.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll want the password to be a secret, but the environment variables, I think we can just set directly.
Sure.
Go
So
to the
I'll go
YAML
back to
file.
the VS
Yep,
Code.
go back here. And so then underneath uses, I think we can do env
Host name.
space
Yep.
env colon. So we're going to say these are the environment variables that we care about. New line, space, and then host, all caps.
Okay, so we're basically passing the host from. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so because this isn't really a secret value, we can just keep it here. We could store it as a secret. We could store it here. Depends if you want to protect your instance IP address, which some people might want to do. So yeah, that would be one option.
Put
Let's
the
actually just,
values are-
yeah, you can put host there.
Perfect.
Username will be Ubuntu.
All caps, I guess.
Yes.
User.
Yep. Ubuntu.
Control.
Oh, wrong line.
Control.
Perfect.
And the password we're going to create as a
password,
secret.
yeah, we're going to create it as a secret. And actually, honestly, I probably would have created the host name as a secret too, now that I think about it, just because that way people don't actually know what server you're running on.
Okay.
So maybe we'll move that to be a secret as well. Not that it matters for the live stream, but just in general, if you have some bot that's scanning all these open source projects, not having it try to ping your server and attack it is better than having it ping your server and attack it.
Sure. Okay, so let's go back to
Environment settings.
Yeah, on the bottom.
And then
environments.
Secrets.
Oh, secrets. Okay. No, it was environments, I guess.
Well, so you can do a few things. You can set up an environment, or you can add a secret directly. So you can just add it as a repository secret there.
Okay.
So host. And then off screen, you're going to add the password.
Yes.
Got it. Once you've got it saved, we should be good to go.
Yes.
Cool. And so now within our workflow, I believe we actually need to pull those in. And so we're going to add to the YAML file. Now we'll add host here. But then we'll use double brackets secrets dot host, and it'll load it from the GitHub secrets. I think it's secrets.host.
Caps. And the same for the password, right?
Same for the password, yeah. So this will bring those values from the encrypted secret that GitHub is storing into our environment. Let me just make sure that is how they want us to do it.
At work, we use Windows, so we do Control C. At home, we do Command C, and it all mixes up every time.
Okay, so if we look at the GitHub repo for this action, so go back to the action page. It wants us to do it slightly different than we just did. Not that one. The action, yeah, right there. Scroll down, and it gives us sort of a sample. And so it is, because we're not consuming these as environment variables, because they're actually input variables to this action or to this workflow, instead of using the env, we're going to use the with command.
Okay.
And so that will pass these values as inputs rather than storing them in the environment, which is actually preferred here. So we'll switch that to.
And do we also need the dollar sign that they used for variables?
Where did they use it? On the secrets?
Over here.
Yeah. In front of the double brackets.
Yeah, maybe we do. Seems good.
Awesome.
Okay, and then we'll want to specify a command of some kind, probably. Go back to the
example.
Yeah. So script. So who am I is fine. The script is basically just like we could do echo hello world. We could do whatever. Who am I just going to tell me what user is running.
Okay.
And yeah, let's go ahead and maybe remove that comment at the bottom and commit and push and see.
This time I allow Kritika to commit, so all the pressure is now on her.
Right. Ali was asking why we didn't deploy as Docker. I just wanted to keep it simple for this one. I don't think Pranav and Kritika know too much about Docker. I know that's one of their goals for 2021. And so rather than trying to explain Docker and how to provision an AWS instance and how to get a GitHub action set up. It was just too much scope creep. So we wanted to keep it simple and just deploy directly. If I was using this directly, I would definitely Dockerize this and spin it up that way.
Yeah, for sure. I guess maybe in the future we can do another one of these when we know a little more about DevOps, when we are familiar with Docker, and then maybe we'll be able to do it in a much professional way.
We could, contribute more, and then we would be able to wrap it up faster as well.
All right. We've got our hello action. We got a green check mark. That's a good sign.
Nice.
Go into SSH remote commands. It looks like it successfully ran that command on our system.
Wow, that's great.
Cool. So now really all we need to do is, instead of running who am I, we need to come up with some set of commands that will do what we said, right? Clone, pull the latest version. Yep. Pull the latest version, run npm install, run pm2 start
the server,
stop the existing one and then start the new one. Yeah.
Shouldn't we restart the new one first and then stop the old one for the downtime?
Yeah. So I mean, in this case, if you have it up, if they're both up at the same time, you get 2 jokes. If we're down, you get no jokes. So maybe that's a better failure case.
Yeah.
Either way would be fine. If you wanted to truly have no downtime, I'm not exactly sure how you would do it for a Discord bot like this, because once it comes up, it's up. Like for an API where you have inbound requests, you can have one API instance running, another one running with a load balancer, and then you can tear the old one down, and that gives you 0 downtime. But in this case, I'm not actually sure how that would work.
Okay, let's just go the simple route. So I removed the who am I.
Yeah, so how do we define a more complicated script for this? It looks like if you just do, in order to do multiple lines, we can just add that vertical bar, like we did with the pipe for the grep, and then new line, and then we can put a bunch of stuff. So space, and then we can say git pull.
Git pull.
And then let's do an npm install. This is I have no idea. I haven't really done a deployment this way, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Then a pm2 stop discord bot.js, I think is what you named it.
.js, and then I'm gonna restart a new one.
PM2?
Two.
And that's one thing I'm not sure about PM2 is if we just do start in the same one, will it should.
Maybe even have a restart.
Let's try it in our shell over there, since we already have one running on the virtual machine. Just do log back in.
Yeah. Oh, we have.
Yeah, Ali's saying you could just string them all together with double ampersands. It should be fine, though, to just run them sequentially. The double ampersands would tell us if one of the preceding commands failed, it would not try to do the other commands. I think you need to cd into...
Yeah.
You're at the home directory. It's in the project directory. Oh, so we'll need to do that with our bot as well, or with our action. So it was the name of the file is index.js, and then you have to do -- name.
Okay. So it was all in memory. It's all lost. Okay.
Oh yeah, we have to do it again.
Oh yeah, for the new session, you mean?
Yeah. So it says script already launched. Add -f to force re-execution.
Yeah, so we could. It looks like we just do pm2 list, or what? How do we read out the current running apps? pm2.
Yeah, it's already running.
So let's do a stop.
Sorry. Discord bot. .js.
And then what I'm not sure, I'm assuming that if we do a start, it will reload that file from the file system, but I'm not 100% sure on how PM2 operates. Script not
Whenever I do start, it says script not found.
Oh, because again, you have to do index.js name Discord bot, right?
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I think that should be fine. Ali's saying we could just do PM2 stop all, but since we know the name of our app, if we had other apps running, we would only want to stop this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think let's go. We've got PM2 stop discordbot.js. Then we want to do PM2 start index.js.
Yeah.
But the other thing we realized is that when we first SSH in, we're in the home directory, and we need to actually change directory into the Git project. So that'll be the very first thing.
So CD.
Just copy the name of the folder.
Yeah, the path.
Ismail is saying, what is PM2 used for? PM2 is a Node.js process manager. And so we are using it to keep track of our app, make sure that it is running, restart it if it dies. It's just a little better than just running directly Node and then our index.js file. Provides some additional features. And
systemd is used for the same purpose, right?
Systemd is kind of doing the same thing, but at the system level. Like is there a systemd interface for Node could we do the same thing?
Yeah, I think we can create services using systemd.
Oh yeah, I guess we could probably do the same thing.
Okay. So I guess we go into the folder, we do a git pull, npm install. We don't have any test. Ideally, I guess we would run test first before doing anything else. But for us, we just stop it and then start.
If we were doing tests, we would actually probably do that in a different step than the GitHub action. So before we even got to this deploy step, we would have a whole separate step that ran our test within the action itself.
Okay, that's interesting. So I guess if the test failed, we won't even go to this action.
Exactly, yeah. So you would want the action to fail before you got to the deploy step if you had a test failure. So that could be another sort of extension after the fact. But yeah, I mean, I think we just cross our fingers, knock on wood, and see what happens.
See what happens when we go to GitHub.
Yeah, the other thing we could do is like Ali was suggesting, string them together with double ampersands, and to put them on new lines, we could do ampersand, ampersand, backslash to keep it on a little nicer to read. But let's see how it goes. That was the previous
like the old one.
And there is the new one. Oh, we should change the name of the...
Hello.
But it looks like...
cat process successfully stored.
Looks like we succeeded.
It worked.
So now, what should we change about the app to convince ourselves that it succeeded?
Yeah, we can change.
Let's first change the name of our action because it's no longer hello world. So in deploy.yaml, we have hello world. Let's name it something else.
And
name the job something else. Yep.
Deploy, I guess.
I think that one needs to be no spaces. Let's do, and I think it's kebab case, no uppercase is the convention.
Okay.
So do launch dash.
No uppercase?
Yeah.
I think they're all lowercase is the convention on this, but.
Okay.
You could just do deploy, but yeah, this is fine.
Launch the Discord bot onto AWS server.
Yeah.
Please.
Using EC2. And the name would be
deploy is fine, whatever.
Deploy. Yeah. Okay, looks good. And just to see if it actually changes, I'll just add.
Maybe before you print the joke, could you append something to the beginning of the joke that you get back or something?
Yeah, exactly. Let's say test.
Yeah, that'll work.
And put it as well, because we have two kinds of jokes.
Yeah.
One is when someone is talking to someone else. Okay, so we added in both of those cases. Please don't read my commit messages.
Too late.
I mean, this is a deploy test. That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah, it'll take a few minutes to run.
launch Discord bot.
Got the new name. Launch Discord bot on AWS EC2 instance.
Please.
Please. Fingers crossed emoji.
Yes.
Okay, so it says it ran.
Let's
should I
ask
go to
for a
Discord?
joke.
Okay, the final test.
Ooh.
Test.
Hey,
Ooh,
wow.
yeah, that's amazing. But I am actually surprised we managed to do it without any errors.
Yeah.
It's magic. When you come on the DevOps Directive office hours, that's what happens. We've
Yeah.
set a
Wow.
precedent. We've set a precedent.
Yeah.
No
So
errors.
Yeah, for all the future office hours,
I
there
think
should be no error.
we lucked out, that's for sure. But I mean, hey, we had six eyes on it. We had more in the chat helping us out. You know?
Yeah, Ali was constant.
Fantastic.
Ali and Ismail were constantly helping us out along the ways. Thank you.
Yeah,
White
this
Fang
is-
was also there for a long time.
this is
Yeah.
awesome. And so let's think about what are the things that we want to still improve about this. We took a couple shortcuts so that we could we could finish before midnight. We're just under the wire. We would want to no longer use the username and password, and instead that would be more secure. We would want to look into the whether it's okay to do that npm install while we're running, whether that's safe or not. I'm just not sure. We would probably want to add some tests to the workflow.
Yeah. So log in with SSH. Yes.
NPM
Any other suggestions in the chat for future extensions that that Kritika and Pranav should add for this? Maybe they'll make videos about adding them.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. This was I guess what we'll do is soon we'll rewatch this whole live stream because this has a lot of info, and like we really did a lot of new thing. Like we learned so
actually,
much, and
it opened up like a whole new Pandora's box for us, but like not in the
Awesome.
negative sense.
No,
Yes,
that's
but
great.
it was amazing.
I'm very
And you were so
pleased.
patient with us.
Yeah.
I really, really want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for being the first guest. I think this will be a good series.
Yes.
Ali has a suggestion: release version appended, so we know it's coming from a new version. So yeah, that could be
yes.
One
Yes.
thing you could do would be to add a command to the bot that's version, and it will read an environment variable that is the version. And then when you actually deploy the app, you could set that environment variable on the machine. And that way you know with confidence what version of the application is actually running. So that's
That's
a good
actually an
suggestion.
excellent idea because when I'm working with Angular or any other front-end framework, I usually do that. I usually read the version from package.json and show it somewhere in the website.
Yeah.
So in the footer or the header. So yeah, that's a good,
That's an excellent idea.
Good one.
perfect.
Okay.
And
Well,
version.
I think that is the full. We succeeded on all counts. Took us an hour and a half, but I think that was a pretty good pace for where we started and where we ended.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and
So
we completed both our milestones.
Exactly. We thought if one milestone will take a lot. Ali does not like Angular.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Ali. I use React as well.
Yeah, completed both milestones. And so I think with that, we will go ahead and sign off. Thanks everyone for tuning in, for joining into the chat. I hope you enjoyed yourselves and learned a few things along the way. And I'll be back with more of these sessions in the future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
care.
so
Thank you.
much.
Bye.
Bye.